more, I suppose, human aspect of the relationship between the brothers, which is really, really funny and very, very moving, actually. The film is, I'll say, is about 2 hours long, but it doesn't feel 2 hours long. It flies through because it's full of lightness, humor, and it's also full of something which is very grounded in very painful things that are happening in the world at the moment in America. So the film is full of action, very, great action. I mean, it takes a step further from The Accountant as it was. The action is great. The connection between the two brothers is great, and um, you have appearances from the old cast, and then you have um, taking a new story which is very powerful and very dark and very evil, and the guys have to deal with that. And there's such a sense of anticipation and fear for the characters, some of the characters, and relief about what happens in the film. It's really a great action film, standalone film in a way you could actually see it. So it's really, I was shocked, but I've only seen it once. That was on the premiere on last Wednesday night at the Chinese Theatre in Hollywood because I couldn't go to the actual industry premiere. But it's a great film. I really can be very objective when I say that. If it was bad, I sort of wouldn't talk about it. But it's a really good film. Funny, fast, deep, connecting the two brothers, but connecting a lot of other links about a really good story. It's not just bang bang bang. It's a really good story, and I'm amazed and in awe of a great guy, the director Gavin O'Connor, terrific director. He made a film called Warriors quite a few years ago, which I love, about two brothers who fight for a title. And I was a boxer, and my brother was a boxer too in my own life. And we would fight all the. Can I swear on this?
Yeah, I suppose it's as long
No,
as told as long as there's no personal digs on anyone
no,
that.
no, no, no. But that energy between two brothers who are fighting for the same thing, I've experienced that. And his film Warriors was great. And I had always admired Gavin O'Connor. And when I spoke to him about this, he said, "Yeah, I want you to play the villain because I mean, I'm a really nice guy, but I have a dark side which comes through on the camera apparently." So, it's a great film. It really is, my friend. It really is.
And I suppose, Robert, you mentioned that about the your intrigue about playing the villain character. But what struck me from watching the trailer as well, what got my intrigue was I always recognize John Bernthal as the real hardline sort of Punisher roles, the
Yes.
sort of real deep, intense, sort of serious action roles. We never really get to see him in this humic comedic sort of roles, banter and this.
Oh, yes.
And this is the first time we get to see this element. He is the lightheartedness, the funny element of the brothers in Bandom in terms of his Braxton character. And it really
Yes.
shows a different side to him as an actor because he's always been labeled this the hard line, this Jason Statham type, beat him up type
Yeah.
actor. And we get to see him in a different line in the cinema. I thought it was really intriguing.
It is. It is. Look, um, actors always want to do something a bit different and not be, typecast. And he's a very funny man, personally. He's a great guy. He's a very warm, very kind, like Ben Affleck is and J.K. Simmons. The everyone sort of we want the best out of you. We want to work the best. And John's humor is very funny. He's very dry. And in this film, there's as I said, a great development of their relationship because it's like brothers. They curse at each other, they laugh at each other, and you see the love they want to have for each other as brothers. And again, Gavin O'Connor as a director and the writer bring that out, and it's really wonderful. It softens, but and it's like it softens John's character, but it's a wonderful thing to see. Actors want to be funny,
Yeah.
because it really breaks down the stereotype of, oh, he's a hard man, or like me, I'm the bad guy. But in the film, I'm funny as well. It's like, but I'm still a bad guy. But everyone has encompasses everything, even how bad they are or how silly they are. We all have a complete range of emotions. And I really love seeing people like John. He's a really tough guy. He's a really good actor, and so is Ben Affleck, having this wonderful relationship, and the chemistry between them is really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose, Robert, your character, Burke, in terms of, is he one of
Yes.
those hard-lined Pentagon type guys, or is he arms dealer type guys, Desert Jigger? What sort of way is he? Is he very ruthless to the core? Is there no mercy shown with him? Or in terms of the people that are around him, are they all petrified of him? Or what type of
Look,
way is he?
that's a really good question. He's a very hard man, but he's like I said a moment ago, he's just a man, right? Okay. He lives in this world where he does really dark, nasty, unpleasant things, but he has a business um, in the outside of that world, and you have to juggle both. And we all do that. We have things which we don't talk about, we do, which people see, and you navigate between those two spheres. And the guy I play he's just falling into this thing which he does. I'm not defending him, of course, but as a guy who portrayed him, he lives in the moment of I've got to do that now. Oh, I've got to do that now. I've got to get that fixed. I've got to get those people killed because
So
he
he's
wants to.
two-faced in terms of what we
It's
see.
two-faced, but it's not a conscious two-face. People just do that to survive. And I think that's far more interesting than, you know, sort of like I'm the evil guy, it's like whatever it is. No, people are evil in small ways and big ways, and that's what you
So
got to see.
Burke can sort of flick a switch in between, go from one to the other.
Flick a switch or just is.
Yeah.
And once you see it, you'll see um, he's just existing, but he does some pretty nasty things
Mhm.
just to exist.
Yeah. What I saw as well in terms of the stunts, when the action gets intense, it gets fairly sort of intense, and the
Mm,
sequences are fairly fast moving. The stunts are
yes,
fairly polished. They look very slick. Dare I say, an awful lot of detail went into the stunts for this movie
yes,
to make it look so polished. It almost feels because the action comes thick and fast, and in those sequences, there's an awful lot going on. If you blink, you sort of miss stuff that are
it's
going
very
on in the
fast.
background.
Yes, um, and which is carries the film through. Look, we all love action films. We get sick of some of them because you know, we, I'm sick of some action franchises. Not again, not again. But this is great. It's
Fast and
very brave.
Furious 12, for example.
Fast and Furious, fuck off, please. No, I can't say that. No, no, they're
No, no, it's
great.
fine.
People try and do the best they can, and because there's a demand from the audience, they want to see that sort of stuff. But with this film, it's very grounded. It's very real. There's a lot of pain involved with people getting hurt and shot and killed. And again, it takes it down to consequences of what happens when people do suffer that sort of stuff. And that's really important because it is fast. It's got to be fast. You can't have a slow action film. And we love the heroism of those two brothers, and it works. And it's fast, and there's a lot of work. I mean, I stand back watching these guys. There's scenes where I'm, getting stuff done, and it's like, oh God, the professionalism of the stunt guys of everyone involved is magnificent. And that's what you have to stand back, whether you like the film or not. You have to admire these people are trying their best to bring something good. And that's, yeah, you can curse out a franchise, what have you, like I do. Oh, not again. But you have to honor the work people put in. And these guys are great. I mean, it is an action film with heart and with pain and loss and sadness. It's really good. And the girls in no, I shouldn't say
Yeah,
the
Cynthia Adia Robinson,
yeah,
Daniela Pineda.
yeah, they are magnificent. They really are. I mean, they're really fine actors, really great. But Daniela, we interact a few times. She's magnificent. It's really great. Yeah.
I suppose, Robert, this movie, you shot it in 2024
Yes.
in Los Angeles. And I suppose that time of the industry, it was coming off COVID, it was coming off
Oh,
writer
yes.
strikes, every sort of strike. So I imagine you were probably just coming out of a time where things were sort of slow, the business was sort of slow moving. How did this opportunity come your way this sort of fast? Because I know from speaking to many actors, it was maybe towards the back end of 2024 where things started to pick up for them. But how did this opportunity come about your way
Um,
probably so fast, maybe after what everything that went on
well,
during
look,
that unspeakable time in the business?
yeah, COVID was terrible for everybody. Fortunately, I can work in Australia as well,
Hmm.
because I have an Australian passport and an American passport and an English passport. So I'm everywhere. But I did a tape for the character that I was asked to do a tape by Gavin O'Connor. He saw it. He said, "Can you come in and talk to me?" And we talked about Warriors, talked about the previous accountant, and just he loved it because I tend to really just underplay things, just let the energy of the scene. And he loved what I did. And he said, "Do you want to play the villain?" I said, "Okay." And that was in May of last year. And it took me on a ride of a real great experience in filmmaking because often, and I think you'd understand this, you don't get a chance to have the time or the space or the ability to offer thoughts and creativity into the role. I mean, it's all rush, 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 rush. But with Gavin, um, we could discuss about where the character's from, but in the moment, it's really, really great. Like I'll give you a quick example. Like I had to be shown how to cut up a big tuna fish, right? Because the guy owns a canning factory or whatever. And I went down to the place where they do it, and the humor and funniness and craziness of those guys working in there was fucking hilarious, right? Oh, sorry, I swore
No, no,
again.
it's fine. It's perfect. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
it was great. And so I went back to Gavin and say, look, the scene you wrote is good, but it's not alive. These guys are so full of life. So he let me do a lot of impro around what I was doing and talking to the customers and the guys bringing the fish in. And because it was so real, they kept it in, which is great in the film. And I really, really thought, good, fantastic. But how it came about, I did the tape. We met, we got on well, and we sort of was on the same wavelength. And before you know it, the film was getting shot. And, again, having it shot in LA was great, but since COVID, since the fires happened at the beginning of this year,
Yeah, another
being a
thing. Yeah.
disaster, and there's a big push now to have a lot of sort of um,
Backup content in case something happens again, I suppose.
yes, to back up, but also to have a lot of incentives to bring films and production back to LA, like the things like happen here, like over in Atlanta, Georgia, and New
Yeah.
York, what have you. A lot of states offer incentives to bring work, but there's a big push now to bring work back to LA because it is really the home of movies and television. So, and people want to work here. I'm got off the subject of your question. I apologize, but
No problem.
but I think it's really important that things be made here, and they made a point. We want to make it in LA. Gavin and Ben Affleck and the producers, they wanted to make it in LA. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and in terms of Ben being a producer and obviously being the lead sort of star in this, in terms of interactions sort of with him, was he very hands-on in terms of the movie, in terms of very sort of detail? Did he offer his
I,
input and everything, or did he stand back and let Gavin do his own thing?
he trusts Gavin O'Connor implicitly. I think, and when you have a good working relationship, you're going to get what you want anyway. And I think he is an actor. He's the head of a studio. He's a producer. He's a writer, but he trusts the people he works with. I think that shows because Gavin was very clear about how the film was, the reality of it, the humanness of it, of the characters. And I think Yeah, I think Ben Affleck trusts the people he works with,
Okay.
because he does. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you get something good.
Robert, interesting times for you. Have you anything else probably in the pipeline that might be coming our way later on in
Yes,
2025?
I do. I just finished a TV series in New Zealand called East of Eden, which is the John Steinbeck book. And you remember the film was in 1955 with James Dean and Eli Kazan directed it. His granddaughter, Zoe Kazan, has written the TV series, which is Amazing Connection. It's a beautiful series shot in New Zealand, and I play the sheriff who goes through the generations of the family, and it's a beautiful series, so detailed, 7-part series, and it's going to be on Netflix. I think they'll probably at the end of this year or early 2026. It's a great series. And the other thing I'm going to plug, I want to work in Ireland at some point on Blood Axe. I love Viking stories. I mean, I love all those things that have been made over the last few years. They're terrific, you know.
Mm.
Anyway,
There's
that's
definitely
my
no
plug.
shortage of Viking stories when it comes to Ireland, anyway, that's for sure,
No,
especially on the West
it is
Coast.
beautiful. Celtic history, man. All that.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. That's for
yeah.
sure. That's for sure. Robert Morgan, I'm going to turn it over to you now for the final 30 seconds. You might enlighten all our audience, all our listeners, why they should go out and mass to their cinema screens or streaming online in terms of various platforms to watch The Accountant 2. And when they do, Robert Morgan, what's in store for them?
Um, an exciting film, a fast-paced film with feeling and depth and challenging a world of darkness which is real in LA, in America, in many places in the world of human trafficking. It's terrible. So they're going to see a film where the people fight, come through a connection between two brothers who are reconnecting, and you see a win for the goodness, which is great. And you see kids being, oh, I don't want to go into that, but it's
Yeah.
a great film. It's a powerful film. It's funny.